Well,
So you don't
welcome
see that shirt
back.
saying?
Welcome back.
Okay. They can see your shirt, dummy.
And welcome back to Simply May episode 2, where we will be talking about being spiritual versus being religious. And I'm super excited to begin this discussion with you guys.
What the heck was that?
Excuse me. To begin this discussion with you guys because I have been contemplating all week on what I wanted to talk about, how I wanted to talk about it, and I wanted it to be something of substance to talk about, to discuss. I was supposed to drop this episode at 4 p.m. today, but that did not happen because it just wasn't ready yet. And you can't force what's not ready. So I'm super excited to be making this video. I'm super excited to, discuss a little bit of what goes on in my head. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment, leave your own feedback because it's all welcome, it's welcome. So with that being said, spirituality versus religion.
Talk about it, girl. Let's talk about it.
Let's get into it. So I looked up the definition of spirituality and I looked up the definition of religion, right? And the definition for spirituality, it's a noun, okay? And it is the quality of being concerned with the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. So basically just having that oneness and everything in this video pertains to my feelings, how I see things.
So don't get butthurt.
Feel free to share your own feedback, but I do believe in God.
Amen.
Let's
hallelujah.
start there. I do believe in God, and I truly believe that being spiritual is a very powerful thing when it comes to life in general. So being spiritual, it says the quality of being concerned. So having that introspective look inside of you, like your divine, untapped or tapped power, i.e., being that direct link with God, and then you have religion, right? And religion had 3 different definitions. They all kind of coincided with each other, but it is considered an adjective, all right? And basically, the first definition says, being religious, relating to or believing in a religion, a belief or practice, forming part of someone's thoughts about worship of a divine being, okay? Second one, belonging or relating to a monastic order or other group of people who are united by their practice of religion. And 3, the third definition was treated or regarded with a devotion and scrupulousness appropriate to worship. So basically, being religious, it's more so like there are do's and don'ts of life. Like, in order for you to see God, you can't do this and you have to do that. And you make sure, that is how you live your life, governed according by the practices and beliefs of a religion. And, spirituality, I feel, is us, our soul, our spirit, that we were given, and we have power in our hands and the power of our tongue in our minds to accomplish anything. So whenever they say our soul speaks, we have dominion and power over anything. Spirituality, as I said earlier, I feel is a direct connection with oneself to God. And whatever you believe in, you look within yourself, you find God, and God and you are one. God and I are one. God created me, and now the God inside of me can come out.
Okay, we get it, sis.
If that makes sense. So That's how I see that. I was speaking with a friend earlier today, a really, really good friend, and they were saying how, I was telling them, like, hey, about to get ready to do my second episode of Simply MAE, and we're talking about being spiritual versus being religious. And so basically, they gave me a great analogy, and I, want to share it with you guys. And basically, since religion describes a practice or a belief, it's basically what's comfortable for the individual, if that makes sense. So if you are Muslim, if you, are any other type of religion, Catholic, Baptist, whatever the case may be, his analogy was, they're basically like different cars, right? So maybe you're a big body driver. You love big body cars, Escalade, a Tahoe, a pickup truck. That just works for how you are. That just works for how you want to move. It's all in all a vehicle, right? Whether you have a Honda or whether you have, a big pickup truck, it still gets you from point A to point B, but you could like certain things about it. So, with me growing up in the church, I grew up in the AME Zion, so that's African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church. And, basically, it was just like, hey, my mom kept us in church. We were doing everything, Easter speeches.
Sure was.
The whole nine, and it's like we would go to a Baptist church and there would be certain things that were different, right, to fit the beliefs of the Baptist church. So that's kind of like, say you don't want a pickup truck, say it works better for you to get a Mercedes Benz, or maybe you like a BMW. Whatever it is about those cars that you like, that's what you stick with, that's what you practice, that's what you drive, right? So with religion, you can always change, if that makes sense. You could have an enlightened thought. You could see the life of another person live in this religion and be like, you know what? That doesn't seem that bad. And then you convert. You convert over to, whatever you feel is comfortable. See, with spiritually, I feel that is your core.
The core?
That is the core of you. Yes, there are other things that can, influence and maybe kind of move you around, but in the core of you, when everything is said and done, that's who you are. That's who God made you to be. That's what he placed inside of you, right? So even though all religions, they are all vehicles, they're all considered vehicles, get you from point A to point B. In this case, dealing with religion, this is what you practice, this is what you believe. They cater to the different needs of the driver.
Give me a sec.
Does one need a religion or practice, or to practice a belief, in order to maintain one's spirituality?
No.
And I feel like growing up, it was basically like a sin to not go to church. Like, you didn't have a church. You didn't have a choice. Excuse me. You didn't have a choice of whether you wanted to go to church or not. You're just going to go to church, and that's that. And, that in itself could go either way. You have those who now hate church. They don't want to go to church. Been to church their whole life. And, I don't necessarily hate church.
When the last time you been to
church?
church?
I also don't necessarily feel that it is needed in order for me to have a strong, growing, deep relationship with my God, I also felt like growing up in the church and being religious is definitely a lifestyle.
Well, duh.
It's definitely something that you incorporate. And some people, it just doesn't really work out for them like that. But that doesn't make them any less amazing or any less loved by God because they don't go to church, or maybe they don't believe in everything that religion has to offer, what that religion is saying do or don't do. But over the years, I feel like religion has definitely taken a back seat because religion has rules and regulations. I mean, let's be real. For an example, if you're gay, lesbian, whatever the case, and you're a Christian and you believe, what everything says in the Bible, then, that's sin.
Hell.
You're going to hell, basically. That's what is taught. And does that make you any less of a person? Like, your life is just over because you like the same sex, It's all in belief. Some people say yes, some people say no. God's going to love you anyway. And I feel like that's where the spirituality comes into play, because God knows your heart, right? It just falls back on, once again, what one chooses to believe and what one doesn't choose to believe. We are all human, and in turn, we are bound to make mistakes. I feel like in this day and age, religion is not so much forced upon the new generation, much like it was when I was growing up. Like I said, there was no option if you're going to go to church or not. There was no option of, hey, Mom, I don't feel like going. No, it's go ahead and get up, get your church stuff ready the night before. You got an Easter speech. You got this, you got that, And I thank her for that, because not only did it expose me to a more spiritual side of myself, but it also showed me how religion can definitely affect one's life, whether it's good or bad. And, like I said, we're all human, okay? And being in a religion, it's like certain things slide and certain things don't slide, if that makes sense. People are hypocrites.
Wow.
You say one thing, you're supposed to be living one way, and then it's a whole nother thing, I feel like spirituality is, I know there is a God and he hears me and he knows my heart. Whereas religion is more, this is the Bible. This is what the Bible, the Quran, whatever else is here to show me how to get to God and be a guide and show me how to live this life the correct way, right? From guidelines and rules that were put in place to be able to get to see God again. When spirituality, you already know God is there. Like, he's there. You're talking with him. You're communicating with him and he with you. And you take and exude everything that he put inside of you. So, I'm just reading my notes, y'all. Excuse
Girl,
me.
please, keep going.
But don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with religion, because like I said, it, for me, was a good thing to be exposed to that, because, fellowshipping and being on one accord with, my religion, Christianity, whatever. I wouldn't even say my religion, but what I grew up with. It was great, being on one accord. Vibes are truly a real thing. Vibes, energy is truly a real thing. But I would not say that it made me any less spiritual, because I have not been to church. Like I'm telling myself, I have not been to church in a long time, but I'm not opposed as well, if that makes sense. What works. And in the end, we all have our different opinion on what makes religion and spirituality work for us individually. I think spirituality in itself is a much deeper journey that we all have to go on. It's something that I feel kind of coincides with purpose. I feel like a lot of us look for our purpose in others. We look for our purpose in our career. We look for our purpose in whatever we feel can fulfill us and show us what we are and who we are, when really, in all reality, all that is already inside of us.
Tell them, sis.
We just have to find it out and then learn how to harness it. And I feel like it will guide us straight to our purpose. Sometimes I feel we fight our purpose to the nail, tooth and nail, because to the tooth and nail, excuse me, low battery. I don't know why. Anyway, because maybe it's not what we think we're supposed to be doing. Maybe we don't know what we're supposed to be doing. And I feel like because we don't have a handbook saying, hey, this is life,
welcome
this
to
is
life.
how you do it, that's where religion comes into play, because it gives you some kind of peace. It gives you some kind of know-how of what you need to be doing, how you need to be doing it. And that's what I feel on that.
Okay.
I feel like the core of who God made you is in itself, to me, deeper than the black and white do's and don'ts practices of religion. Because, like I said, you know, what works for some might not work for all, but does that mean that they're not worthy or, you know, deserving, or they're not good enough to have the blessings that God has deemed solely for them, you know? In a weird way, they kind of go hand in hand. I mean, religion requires spiritual, you know, prayer, which you can do and not be religious. Prayer, you know, communion, you know, all these other things. But, and you know what communion stands for, that's just for some religion. There's plenty of other practices for different religions and what they require. But being spiritual doesn't require religion. You can be spiritual anywhere, any place, anytime. Janet Jackson, okay, like straight up. The only thing religious, I would say, about spirituality is the need and the hunger to dig deeper within oneself, one's soul, and directly communicate with God.
Lord, can you hear me?
The higher power, whoever you believe in, however you believe it, and speak in one accord with the mind, body, and soul, whatever it is, into existence, because we have that power. You know, people wonder why I feel spirituality definitely shows itself more, not only just spiritual, but it manifests itself into the physical plane as well. You know, the power of the tongue, right? Being able to know things before they happen, having that belief, having that conviction of that spiritual self, that higher self, that can be manifested through prayer, that you speak with your God. And in my case, my God, I speak with him and I ask him and I talk to him and he shows me. But it's like, that's more spiritually. Like, I didn't have to go to church just to receive that, if that makes sense. And there's nothing wrong with going to church. Don't get that misconstrued. It's just more so nowadays, there's so many hidden agendas, I feel, that comes with religion. Okay, there's so much stuff that's not, you know, there's so many people who put up a front that they're religious and they're really not. Like, there's other things going on that is not of the formal practice of the religion. And in turn, it turns the people away.
Adios.
It turns the people away, you know, from being religious. Oh, so because, you know, going back to that example, so because I'm gay, I can't make it into the gates of heaven. But yet, I live my life as an upright Christian, right? But because of that one thing, I'm forever damned. You know, it's just sort of that taboo spot, that gray area where it's like, okay, you live your truth, you're condemned. You don't live your truth, you can, like, whichever way gives you peace, you know? So I guess it's just whatever works. Being spiritual and then being religious, I wouldn't say is really versing each other. It's more so like, that little gray area. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but that gray area of where, you know, you can always be great, no matter what the circumstances. And, you know, religious or not, you are who you are, and you're going to become who you're going to become. And we still have that power, that the domination, the dominion to be able to make that decision for ourselves, whether you're religious, whether you're spiritual. So thoughts, comments, this video, this episode, I'm about to bring it to an end.
Thank you,
and
Jesus.
I hope you guys liked it. I hope it was thought evoking, you know. Leave a comment. I want to know. Leave, you know, any type of opinion, feedback. Keep it respectful, keep it cute, but speak your mind, speak up. I feel like I personally am a very spiritual person. I do believe in God, as I said, and I do believe that with mind, body, soul, power, the tongue, you speak life and you envision and you see, God will show you everything that you need to know. So thank you guys for taking the time and tuning in to episode 2. Like I said, leave me a like, subscribe, a comment, any topics or anything else y'all want to talk about, go ahead and leave it because I'm coming with another episode next week. And holla, I'll talk to y'all soon.